Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Fandalorian Club. We got the usual suspects here, myself, Gio, and I'm joined today by Mr. Brian Avalosino. Brian, how are you?
Had better days, but it's okay because we are about to talk about some Star Wars.
Yeah, in case you guys missed it, we did not have a show for Apocalypse Now this past week, so this is kind of making up for it. I'm here with Brian, and it's always good to see you, bud, and talk some Star Wars. We got some people here with us. Star Drew. Oh, Brian and Gio is feeling okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Is there something I'm missing? Please fill me in. We got Mr. John Booze here. What up, Boba people? What's going on?
Hello, everybody.
RD Films. How was the runtime of this Boba Fett episode? Let me know that. And yeah, there was actually I saw somebody in here mentioning Lego Star Wars real quick. Did you hear about this? The Skywalker saga?
Oh yeah, the one that was supposed to come out 2 years ago. Yeah.
Was it supposed to come out 2 years ago? Oh, well.
Yeah.
This is news to me.
Yeah, they finally are like, yay, it's gonna come out, and where everyone's like, no, okay, 2 years ago, but all right. So yes, It's finally coming.
Are you gonna play it?
Probably. More than likely. Yeah. I'm probably.
It's Star Wars, and those Lego games are always fun.
Exactly. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about this latest episode of the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 4, The Gathering Storm. And yeah, judging by what we've seen in this most recent episode, a storm is definitely on the way. A storm that even Boba Fett is realizing, I got to do something. I got to gather the families, and I got to try my best to prepare for what's to come. Brian, I'll start with you. Just overall thoughts on this episode. We're 4 episodes in, episode and series overall. You are muted. I can't hear you.
Jesus. I would put, it's because I have the stupid church across from me going church bells. I forgot I muted it. I would put this probably at number 2. Still love the second episode the best. Mm-hmm. Yeah, overall, I'm like, come on, do a little something more. Give me a little bit. But not every episode's going to be a freaking Avengers Infinity War or freaking Justice League. It's not going to be just drag out, bang out episode. I think with only 3 left, I believe it's 3, we should be hitting a stride, I hope. So, yeah, because, I mean, you've got basically 2. I mean, your last episode's probably not going to be like this crazy. Well, I shouldn't say that because Mandalorian last season did that. So I don't know.
Yeah, remember Luke Skywalker showed up and
yes. So I don't know. 3 episodes. That's not too much to tell. I'm curious if they go back, if they keep doing like 30, 45, 30, 45, 30, 45, 30 with the time. So I'm curious. What do you think?
Yeah, last week we were talking about, how many more flashbacks are we going to get, while the story in present day needs to continue moving. But I felt this flashback, I guess, episode for the most part, up until about the last 15 minutes, I thought it was necessary for myself
Yeah.
because it strengthened the bond between Fennec and Boba, and also filled in some holes from a story standpoint that I was, curious about. Like, okay, Boba finds Fennec, and the next thing you know, they end up on the planet where Mando is trying to have Grogu be contacted by a Jedi and whatnot. Maybe I'm missing some stuff in between, but for myself, I found these flashbacks to be very necessary because it gave us more of the two of them. And just there were some moments in this episode where I was just smiling and I was just like, that was pretty badass. One moment that comes to mind right now is when Boba is searching the Scarlac pit for his armor.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlac attacks, drags the ship in, and it's Fennec who presses the button. Little canister rolls out into the Scarlac pit. Beautiful.
Well, I love a silent bomb, a
Yes.
silent, then ginormous bomb sound. You know, blow up the Sarlacc pit. You know that screw
Sarlacc.
that
My
place.
apologies.
Oh, you're fine. Uh, Boba didn't like that Sarlacc anyways. Blow it up. And blow it up with the coolest thing that we know Boba Fett has. Go for it. So I was fine with it. When that happened, I was like, all right. And now we know that they're actually still toxic after they die.
Yeah, I mean that was as far as kills go, that was pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it because going into that moment, I thought Boba already killed it, with the flamethrower burning the insides and whatnot. And I was like, oh, he not only escaped, but he killed the beast.
You would
But
think that's
no,
what I thought. I
yeah,
completely agree with you. I figured he like smashed through it and then came up the sand. So I figured it was just dead, but nope, still alive.
right. What were some of your takeaways as far as the flashbacks go? It starts with Boba, just leaving the destruction of the Tuscan camp. He comes across Fennec, takes Fennec to this little place in Moss on the outskirts of Moss Isley,
Yeah,
Moss
where all those bikers go.
Espa, where all the
Mm-hmm.
bikers go, to a mod person who does this. Call it a montage. Call it a cooler version of what happened to Anakin Skywalker. When he's getting modded. This one had music and everything, and it was just cool to see. What'd you think about all that?
It was cool. I actually kind of dug the connection to the biker gang now. It makes them more than just this random biker gang that he found on the street. Like, no, like he probably knew that those people were from where he took Fennec. So he kind of like knew a little bit more of them. It kind of made me, I don't want to say appreciate the bikers more, but like they weren't just like this random group of people that he's like, hey, come work for me. Like it sucks here. It's like, no, that he probably knew that they came from where he took Fennec. And I loved her turning into a slight cyborg. I guess kind of fully is a cyborg the way they made her whole stomach look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool. Actually, I dug my like it's not that big of a deal, but I dug that he took her to the place that these biker people are going to for the modified parts. It makes sense now. It's like, oh, that's smart. That was one thing in Mandalorian. Why did he need to turn her into like a robot part? Like they couldn't fix her any other way. Now like I dug that. That kind of made the biker people a little bit better for me. I mean, they weren't bad. I just was like, okay.
I think with the bikers, people just mainly have a problem with their vehicles, not them, but
Yeah.
just the vehicles, the speeders, whatever you want to call them, and just how it fit. For them, it felt like it did not fit in Tatooine, or Mos Espa, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was talking to a colleague of mine at work, and I said, "Hey, look, don't be surprised if by the end of this season, you find yourself liking these biker kids, whatever you want to call them, and whatnot. They served a purpose. They had BK's back. What's the Wookiee
Oh, Black Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum? Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Chrysanthemum. And we'll get to Chrysanthemum, who got let's say a little bit too much to drink.
Oh, I don't think he had anything to drink. I think that was just, well, he had stuff to drink, but I think that's just him. That's literally Gio. That's like how he acts. Like, I don't like you. I'm gonna rip your arms off.
Yeah,
that's how he is 99% of the time. But go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, I found these flashbacks very necessary, and their interactions at first. Fennec is like, "Oh, the Tuscans that made you soft," and Bubba is like, "No, that's not the case at all." He's just seeing their ways and practicing and living with them has just changed me. And made me realize that or maybe he was already feeling this way. He's like, I'm tired of working for idiots who are gonna get me killed.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. And it starts to rub off on Fennec, right? Fennec is starting to change her ways, or at least give some thought into, like, she says, I'm an independent contractor, but I'll go along for the ride and see what happens. I like how their camaraderie relationship progressed as the story went on, which is why I found it.
I mean, who best understands a bounty hunter than another bounty hunter, right? I mean, they could go find, I don't know, a crime lord. Crime lord doesn't know how bounty hunters' minds think, other than they just killed the people I need them to kill. Bounty hunter knows exactly how another bounty hunter feels and thinks, and she probably saw that he's like, he could probably actually do what he's probably wanting to do. So, yeah, I dug it, because that was one thing I think most of us were kind of thinking, like, why is she sticking around with him? Like, if she's a really good bounty hunter, why? Like, I get he saved her, but like, she doesn't have to. But like, I don't know. And so that kind of just was like, oh, she sees that he's probably going to be doing some moves, and it's probably best to stick to the ride. I'm hoping, well, this is jumping ahead, but I was going to say, I'm hoping, I was just going to say, I'm hoping we just start seeing like a bounty hunter team up of just like,
I mean, like we're heading there.
Right? Okay. I got the feeling too, a little bit, especially like first it was Boba getting Fennec. Then it was the Chrysanthemum. Now I'm like, who's coming next?
Oh, we know who's coming next.
I hope
Did you hear the music?
I see, everyone keeps saying that. I watched it at like 6 a.m, so I didn't really hear it. What is it?
How do you pronounce his name? Din Djarin?
Din Djarin? Oh, Mando. Okay.
You didn't hear the music, the little Western type of theme?
I didn't catch it at all. Oh, people are saying Cad Bane. Yeah, I don't know. They really don't like each other. I'm starting to really think, unfortunately, Cad Bane's not coming, because I feel
you don't think Cad Bane wants revenge on Fennec?
I don't think we have enough time in 3 episodes to do that. Like, no, if again, they have, with these live actions, they have done a great job doing things for people that haven't watched the animated. Cad Bane is strictly an animated. Yeah. And you would need an intro to why these two hate each other, and there's only 3 episodes left. I don't think there's enough time to bring Cad Bane. Maybe next season, but I'm starting to think that he's not. Damn, how did I miss Mando's theme? Son of a gun. I messed up.
I don't know. It was once when I guess Fennec was being, because Fennec was in a ship, right? And she got shot at and crashed, and that's how Boba found her. From memory.
She tried to take out Mando.
Yeah.
And he bested her and left her for dead.
Yeah, because Boba's, with a fire hanging out with his beast. I don't know what those beasts are called, but he looks up in the sky and sees something bright flash, and that's how he finds Fennec. But you hear the music right then and there. Briefly.
Okay. I need to rewatch this episode if I missed that. What else did I miss? Amanda's theme. Yeah. Okay. I need to pay closer attention. See, I watch it at like 6 a.m. So like I don't have it too loud because I'm not trying to like wake everyone up around me. But like the neighbors, but I'm gonna have to rewatch it and turn it up a little bit more. Interesting. Easy to miss if it was quiet, John Booze. Okay, cool. So I'm not just deaf.
All right. Well, let's talk about BK. I'm just gonna call him BK because I'm afraid of botching that K word. But
you're fine. Kerr
Santin. I'll say that 10 times before bed.
Okay.
What'd you think about all that? Him getting angry drunk and picking fights and ripping some creature's arm off, and
I love it. I love it because it just fits so well with how he is. He literally just doesn't give a you know what, and just like I was like, wow, if she talks him down, like she's gonna have some importance. Now he just hit the person's arms off. So I was like, okay, cool. So Chrysanthemum just doesn't give a you know what still, because that's how he is. He's just literally like violence first, talk later. Like that's his whole motto. So I love it. I dug how she was very kind of like, she seemed very like influential, like someone you respect and don't want to cross, but he don't give a crap. He ripped that person's arms off and was just like, oh, all right, well, I guess it didn't work. And he's just
Boba said something like it was worth a try or something.
Yeah, it was just like, oh well. But yeah, no, I love Chrysanthemum. I am so happy. I never in a million years did it cross my mind that he would show up in this, and I'm just like, more, give me more. So, and I think we're gonna see him more.
Oh yeah, last episode we were talking about, could we see more of Black Chrysanthemum? And because he ran off, and you think, oh, he's gonna kind of do his own thing, but no, he's right there in the next episode.
He ran to the bar.
He was thirsty, running all those miles, and got a little too ahead of himself. So I think you're right on the spot. We're gonna see more of him. You got the brains in Fennec, and you got the muscle in Chrysanthemum. You got the Rancor. You got Danny Trejo. You got.
Oh, I keep forgetting about the Rancor. When it did when he did the meeting and it went up, I forgot completely about the Rancor.
That was a good scare tactic to have 100%. The dinner right on top of the cage and just right on cue. Genius. Claw right through. Earthquake. No,
just
it was the Rancor.
I loved it.
So they're obviously building towards a battle, right? A war. That's what I kept hearing throughout this episode. War is coming. War is on the way. Other than Mando, could anybody else be showing up? Because Mando alone isn't enough, right?
I mean, I would just I'm sure everyone else can agree with me. I would love to see all 5 of those original bounty hunters from Empire show up. For me, mostly Bosk. I love Bosk, especially since we already have seen Trandoshans.
Hmm.
I mean, why not get the baddest Trandoshan? Star Drew, I
Would
don't think Bad
would
Batch
that
comes
fit
into
or
this.
work
It would be, to me, that would
as
be
far as
like,
the timeline goes?
I mean, we don't know what's happened to them past episode season 1. So I don't know. I think it's more likely that you would see people from Mando or um, old bounty hunters. I personally would
Oh,
rather see
I
old bounty hunters.
love that.
Uh, See, I don't think Bo-Katan gives a crap. All Bo-Katan cares about is the dark saber.
But Mando,
Yeah,
Mando's influence, would that be enough to say, Bo-Katan, we need your help?
I don't know. I don't know. I
Because he did get the dark saber, right? He
Yeah,
defeated.
we just don't know where exactly this is like lined up. Like, does he have it at this point, or is it before this point? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. Like, because their stories seem to be going like this, but we don't know. Are they like exact, or is it like kind of like so? I don't
I
know.
think everyone besides maybe a few characters that Filoni has used in live action is on the table. And the few I'm talking about is like Grogu, obviously. Like, what's Grogu gonna do in this battle? You know, he could probably do some stuff, but
Grogu's
like
gone with Luke.
he's with Luke. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think you're honestly, if I had to put money down, I think the most likely is to see old bounty hunter show up, like a Bosk and maybe a Dengar. Like, I would love to also see Forlom and Zuckus just to round the whole thing out, but I think your best bet would probably be, if I had to put money, I would put it towards. Well, it sounds like Mando's there, but I would put it towards uh, the old bounty hunters. That's just my opinion.
yeah. I mean, I think, in my opinion, there's been so much fan service already in this season that to not have those bounty hunters would be like, like, why not? Man, Boba needs all the help he can get, right? That's something I've said. Boba needed more muscle to control his territory, or and I just don't think Fennec and him alone can cover all that ground, and
Mm-mm.
whatnot. So I
I'm
think
hoping. I
right.
would. I mean, who wouldn't love to see those characters come back? Like the original Empire bounty hunters, all they're like to fight with other things. I think it would be dope. I just, who knows? Who knows? I hope so. But Mando seems likely, especially if you guys heard the music.
Hmm. Well, let's bring in the third member of this Fandalorian club. He has arrived, Mr. Jake Berlin. Do you want to bring yourself in?
It's not my job.
There he is.
Hi, guys.
What's up, man?
Sorry I'm late. Obviously, you guys know what was going on, so I apologize
Yeah,
for my tardiness. How's everybody doing?
Good.
pretty good, man. Just trying to make our way through this episode. I'm hosting, the least expert
Oh,
Star Wars person, so I'm
we
just
You're
like,
share.
good. You're good. You're good. Yeah, you're good.
well, Jake, we haven't heard your thoughts at all. Obviously, you just got here. So, what do you think about this episode titled The Gathering Storm and how it may change your overall thoughts so far of this series?
I like the episode. I didn't love the episode. I think I love things in the episode more than I actually like them. Or like the episode altogether. is what I meant. There's a lot of pieces that have still yet to come together that I wish at this point they were together. But it seems like the story is going to be heading in the right direction in the next couple days or next couple of episodes. And I hope that's the case. You know, if the gathering of the families was the start of it all, then I really hope by next episode we kind of get to the full-fledged story of what's going to be happening with the Pikes and certain characters. Yeah, I mean, the Black Chrysanthemum stuff is very interesting now that he's a part of the crew, and I'm interested in seeing where all of these characters' allegiance really lie when things really happen. I don't know if you guys talked about it. I kind of missed the beginning of it, but I'm starting to believe that it wasn't actually that speeder bike gang that killed the Tuscans. I don't know if you guys talked about that at all.
We did not touch on that because, and I don't know if you were going. Well, I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I just wanted to bring it up because I know that I was able to catch recently. You guys were talking about the Mando and bringing certain characters and stuff like that, so who can show up. I think there's a possibility that someone we know is actually responsible for the Tuscans, and maybe they were hired by the Pikes. I don't know, but I'm starting to get the vibe that might come back around a little bit more towards the end of the season. But those are just kind of my thoughts. So,
well, it's interesting that you bring that up because Fennec said a line when Boba was talking about the Tuscans and how the Tuscans were taken out, and she said something like, "Really?
She said by a speeder bike gang?
Yeah,
There's
by a
no
speeder
way.
bike gang? No way." And that line right there just adds more to your thoughts about, someone else might be in play here. Could it be the twins still, or are they done? We thought Black Chrysanthemum was done after this previous episode, or at least that's what we thought could have happened. But who do you guys think? Well, who are some of the suspects? Who's suspect number one?
I mean, I think it's someone who was hired by the Pikes. I don't know if you agree, Brian. I feel like the Pikes are behind everything.
I think the twins have more to say. I think
it would make sense.
In what world do Hutts just go, "Oh, we're sorry. Here, keep your territory."
It makes sense. Maybe they're working with the Pikes.
I'm also still kind of suspicious of the Twi'lek at the bar.
Oh, I her name is oh my god, what's her name? I just saw it on Twitter the other day. It's like Gwen or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, she's super suspicious, man. She is like, she's got some power, but that power is not coming from anything inside Mos Espa. I agree with you. Plus, I just love the character. I think the character is really cool.
Yeah, she's cool.
Garson Fwip. Thank you. Garza Fwip. Fwip was the name I was thinking of. What a weird name, right? Fwip. But
the Twi'lek.
I agree with you. I think she is, and it's unfortunate for this, but seeing her and the way that she's operating in the series just really, really wants me to see Hera so badly because of the way that she looks and the way that she is kind of like treated in live action. But yeah, I almost feel like all of these characters are gonna converge, right? Like they're all gonna come together at some point. Maybe not in like one giant scene or something, but like everything is gonna come to a head in these next couple episodes. Where do her allegiances lie? I feel like it might be on the bad side.
Probably. I think her allegiance is to money.
I was literally just gonna say she's the high roller. She's like Andy Garcia in the Ocean's movies, right? She's the one who's kind of banking everything and everybody. We saw what she did with Chrysanthemum, right? I'll wipe your tab away. Like she has a little bit of power. I'm just interested in where it is, and who it is specifically, because we don't know who it is.
Was she not gonna wipe his tab away anyway? I mean, what are you gonna do against that guy?
Well, he ended up paying her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. He did.
Yeah.
He paid for the
Yeah.
ticket. You're right. Right.
So
Also, that scene, did anybody else come out of that scene only thinking about watching Black Chrysanthemum fight as a gladiator? Anybody?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the way-
I just remembered the comics.
I want to see that in live action. So
Oh
effing.
yeah.
Give me
I mean,
Spartacus with Wookiees, and I'm in. You have me.
You heard it here, Lucasfilm.
Could you imagine a
Spartacus with
Star Wars
Wookiees.
Gladiators like series or like mini series or something where we just see a bunch of gladiator matches with all these characters? It'd be so badass.
Come on, Ridley Scott.
Hey, don't tempt me with a good time.
That was one of the questions that I had was she's referencing Chrysanthemum as this champion and cheered and revered by thousands of people. She's referring to the comics, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay.
There
So
was
if-
at one point
go
there
ahead.
was a comic run that there was like a gladiatorial arena that these people would get thrown into, and that's kind of not. I don't know
Like
if it's
Thor
where we
Ragnarok.
met. Yeah, essentially, almost exactly like that because it was most of the time against their will. I don't know if that's. I don't think that's the first time we met him.
No, he
But-
debuted in Darth Vader alongside Boba.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that gladiator thing is an actual comic thing.
Mhm. And it's one of those moments that, like, one of those fan service moments where if you know the comics, obviously it's going to ring a bell. But if you don't, it's just small history that, like, is good for you to know. It's like a necessary dialogue piece. But for us fans who know it, it's like, oh, they're talking about that comic run. Right. But it's not like one of those moments where you have to know it or have to be a comic reader to understand what's going on. They gave you enough information in the moment to be like, oh, okay, he was a gladiator. He fought in some kind of Star Wars version of a gladiator match, and now he's a bounty hunter. Like, cool. There's my backstory for Chrysanthemum a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, for someone like me, that was just like, oh, okay. You're touching on a lot of stuff that I feel like are in the comics. And there it is right there.
Mhm.
So Jake, Brian and I, right before you jumped on, we were talking about, so there's a war coming. They said it several times throughout the episode. There is a war coming. And who else could they be recruiting? Because they need more muscle. That's what Boba said in the episode. They need more muscle. We talked about Mando showing up. We heard the theme. I'm pretty sure you heard the theme too, right?
Yeah, it's at
Several
the
times.
very end. I don't know if you guys saw my comment or not, but it was literally the last moment of the episode. It ended the episode.
Mhm.
Look, Mando was always and obviously seems like the most obvious choice, just because that's where we first re-met Boba. Calling him in, he currently is a bounty hunter, so it would make sense. But we also have to think about all of the characters that both Fennec and Boba have history with, right? Through animation, through live action, through comics. It's hard to not think of someone like Bosk, being that the Trandoshans are actually involved in Mos Espa. Like, that's possible. I know Cad Bane's being thrown around a lot. I have always said that I think Cad Bane and Boba are going to meet again in live action. I don't know if this is the moment that it happens. I think Brian was saying that there's only 3 episodes left and it would be a lot for him to kind of enter now, which I do agree with. It definitely makes sense. But I would not disagree with him showing up at all. Like, I would be freaking out if I heard that voice and that look of that character on live action. There's honestly a lot of people. There's a lot of characters that you can think of that could possibly show up alongside these two. I don't know if they need a lot, because they do have their little biker gang. I do think that the families will actually be involved at some point. I think that one of them at least will kind of join in on the fight. I don't think all 3 of them are going to stand by neutrally. I really don't think that's going to happen. But we also have to remember that he has a flipping Rancor. Like, that's really all you really need as Boba. That thing's going to do damage to a lot of people. So you don't need a ton of muscle, but getting someone like Mando and maybe one other person that we know, like, why not? Like, here's your opportunity to do it. Like, why not do it? The chance is literally right there to do, like, one of those. Like, maybe it's IG-88. That'd be badass. Another IG unit showing up. But there's tons. I mean, there's literally tons. I mean, the first time we ever saw Boba outside of the special editions was in that bounty hunter lineup. I think you guys are talking about it. Like there's like 5 other characters to choose from right there. So, and Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Robert Rodriguez, they are hardcore fanboys. They're gonna give us what we want. So it's just a matter of who.
I will say it again. You better not miss out on the opportunity to give Danny Trejo a machete, and he joins the fight, and he makes a sacrifice, and it's a glorious one. Like, I need to see that just for myself. I just need to see that. Last question I have for you guys, and we'll wrap it up here. I thought we were mostly done with flashbacks, but this episode was mostly flashbacks. Will there be more in the next coming episodes? Is there anything that you could see them touching on? Because I thought the Fennec and Boba early on and their relationship growing was very necessary, in my opinion. Is there anything else that you feel is necessary or something that they can cover or should cover?
I just want to know why they kept showing that same shot of the ship flying away. They showed it twice.
What ship?
The fire spray.
Oh, in the episode?
Yeah. Well, not this episode, but like I know I do too. But 2 separate episodes, they showed that exact shot, one just a little bit longer of it flying away. Like, was there a reason, or are we just showing?
Was that in the flashback? Right, it was a flashback.
Twice. It was in the first episode of the ship leaving Camino.
Oh, you're talking about the Camino stuff. Yeah. The Camino stuff has to come back in some capacity. I feel like it. I hope it does. Maybe he goes to Camino with Fennec. I don't know. But if I'm not mistaken, we're basically caught up to when we met him in Mando, right? Like,
I would think so.
Like, I know he said he had like scores to settle, but the only one that we know of that he hasn't settled that we've seen in this show is getting his armor back from Cobb Vanth. So,
which he doesn't even get it from Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, he chases them to. Oh, I'm forgetting the planet name.
He gets it from Mando, right?
Yeah, it's on his ship. And that's when we meet him next, which is basically where we are.
Right.
So the only flashbacks we would see again would be way farther in the back. As far as like catching the story up, we're pretty much caught up. So I don't know about flashbacks. Unless they're saving the flashbacks for something major, it almost feels like we're not going to be getting any more flashbacks.
Probably not, with the droid saying you're 100% healed. Like, he's not probably going to be back in the back tank. So
the only flashback, and this depends on if Bosk shows up, is maybe a flashback of the 2 of them, something we haven't seen, but maybe you guys have in the comics. I just,
I do think that there's going to be some. I think there's going to be some major cameo that happens at some point. If it's Mandalorian, cool. But I really do think that we're going to be seeing a character that we haven't met yet in live action, or maybe a character that's returning to live action that we're going to be meeting again. And maybe that's where a flashback comes into play, how they're connected to Boba. I'm interested because, like Brian's right, he said that he was 100% healed. So why does he need to go back in the back to tank? Right? Like, if he's not going in the back in the back to tank, then there's no need for flashbacks anymore. So it's very curious as to how it's all going to work going forward with 3 episodes left. I don't know. I mean, I'm digging the flashbacks, and Brian's right. The Camino stuff is like hanging. It's like literally hanging there.
Mm-hmm.
They're just the puppet masters just hanging out in front of us like the carrot on the stick. And now we're wondering if we're going to get it or not.
John Pedro, he has a score to settle with Mace. Man, I'm telling you, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that Mace Windu returns in some form. I'm not saying he's going to be in this series, but never say never.
I mean, we could definitely see like a Marvel-sized post-credit scene where he shows up, and then that's like hanging there for the next season. Cool, but I don't know if I want to see like that's like 30 years of storytelling to know where the hell Mace Windu has been. And now he
It's
shows up on Tatooine. Like, come on.
but Mace Windu is one of those characters who you wouldn't mind seeing more of. I mean, you get Yahya Abdul-Mateen to play a young Mace Windu.
No,
and
no.
They would de-age him before they did that.
Yeah, they de-aged him in Captain Marvel. They would de-age Sam Jackson again. Plus, Sam Jackson's able to do stunts still, so let him do his thing.
there you go. Sam Jackson is a treasure. And real quick before we end it, let me just say, fire spray gunship, not a fan of it. Change is necessary. Change is good, but this is one of those things where I just Slave One. Nobody, from what I heard, was really complaining about that. But it is what it is. It's fire spray gunship. Do you guys have any thoughts about it, or no comment, or just whatever?
It's whatever. Like they're gonna do whatever.
It's a bummer, but I will say, having Tamara Morrison say fire spray, I'm cool with it. The way he speaks words is pretty brilliant. Like, I love the way he says Tatooine. It's like Tatooine or whatever.
Yeah.
Tatooine.
So, I'm cool with it.
Also, shout out the Lep droid. That was dope.
The little one that he was chasing?
Yeah, the bunny droid, the Lep
The bunny
droid.
droid,
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird sequence of just like
They were used a lot in the Clone Wars.
They sure were.
So, yeah.
Well, there you go. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Fandalorian Club. Thank you for joining us, tuning in. John Booz, Samir, John Pedro, Star Drew, and others. We appreciate you guys hanging in there. Gordon Post. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And we'll be back next week. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of surprises. We haven't seen the last of cameos or possibly flashbacks. So fingers crossed, like Brian said. And thanks again for joining us. Gio, I've been the host this week. I made it. I did it.
Yeah.
And Brian Avalosino, Jake Berlin, thanks again, guys. Until next time, you guys take care.
I just realized I have to be the one that clicks the button.
Yes,
Bye.
you have to. Bye.